Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall, Psychic, all the way from the Gold Coast. What an amazing time it is to be alive, isn't it? I mean, you know, lots of things are happening around the world. Lots of dignitaries are going to have cups of tea with people at Buckingham Palace and things like that. So it's an exciting time to be alive when lots of things are sort of happening around the globe at the moment. So this week's Simply Tarot card of the week is one of my favourites. It's the Three of Cups. It's the card of celebrations, bright happenings. This means everything's sort of positive and happening in your life at the moment. It's just a nice card to have around, you know, to sort of say, well, things are getting a little bit brighter. Things aren't always necessarily a negative. So it's a nice time to be alive. So for those that, you know, might be planning a special event or a party or something like that, this is a card that guarantees things are going to go off without a hitch, that things are going to be nice and family and friends are going to play together nicely in, you know, the event. You know, sometimes, you know, gatherings with family and friends and things like that don't always go to as planned. You know, sometimes they're a little bit tricky, are they not? That, you know, that sometimes people don't always get on well. But this is a bright, positive card sort of saying, let's find something to celebrate this week in your life, even if it's only something minor or something little, something that you've been working on for some time, or even just, you know, that you're still breathing. I mean, that's a major event in itself, isn't it, these days? You know, there's lots of people that are passing away. And this morning before I came on here, and I know it's nighttime and most of our viewers, it was the sad news of Robert Redford, and he's been one of my favourite actors over the years. So let's celebrate his life and the things that he's left behind. So this week, astrology-wise, we've got a big week, as we always do. The sun is in Cancer at the moment. So, I beg your pardon, the sun is in Virgo at the moment. So happy birthday to all the Virgos. Yes, we still have some influence in Cancer, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So sun in Virgo really means that, you know, besides all the Virgos having a wonderful time of the year and it's their birthday time and it's time for them to shine, for the rest of us, it's asking us to regroup. It's asking us to have a really good, solid look at our lifestyle. You know, what can we do to improve it? Are we eating properly? Are we getting enough rest? Are we taking care of our health? And including our mental health. Not always are we just talking about our physical health. We have to look at our emotional and mental health as well. We have to make sure that we're sort of really trying to listen to what our body's trying to share with us. You know, there isn't a person on the planet that doesn't have something that they say is not quite right on a physical level, or something they wish that they could change. And some things are beyond our control. But I firmly believe if we try and do the very, very best that we can do, and ask ourselves, you know, are we getting enough sleep? Are we getting enough nutrition? Are we drinking enough water? Are we sort of, you know, minimizing the stress in our lives as much as we possibly can? Then that's the things that we should all be working on at this time of the year, regardless of your star sign. And for Virgos, they're usually very much in tune with this anyway. You know, I have a lot of Virgo friends, and a lot of people say, oh, you know, look, they don't show a lot of emotion. They don't get terribly excited about things. Well, they don't show it in an outward way, but on an inward sort of way, that they're very deep thinking, they're very deep feeling sort of people. And you know, they store a lot in their sort of tummy area, that, you know, that when they're upset, they sort of mightn't show it on an outward level, but they certainly hold on to a lot of things. So if you're a Virgo, you need to sort of try and process things a little bit quicker and not hang on to everything. You know, you don't always have to overanalyze things until there's nothing left to analyze. You know, you've taken the color out of the situation, and then we start back at the beginning because maybe I missed something, and then I better start back at the beginning again in case I missed something. I always try and teach my Virgo friends that, you know, if you've analyzed something thoroughly 3 times, then that's it. Draw a line under it. That's your answer. You know, you can't keep going on and, you know, trying to find a different conclusion or a different answer. So the sun is in Virgo. Happy birthday again to all the Virgonians. It's a really special time of the year. It also shows us that the seasons are changing, and, you know, we're heading towards the pointy end of the year as well, that, you know, we've got big holiday events and things like that coming up. And someone said yesterday it's only 100 days till Christmas. That's a little bit scary, but anyway, it's a magical time of the year. So we have Jupiter, the planet of expansion and opportunity and luck, is sitting in Cancer at the moment. Now he's holding hands or conjunct the moon. Now, if you've been a regular viewer of the show, you'll know that the moon moves very, very quickly. The moon only stays in a sign for 2.5 days. So with Jupiter conjunct the moon here, it's not a real biggie in as much as transits are concerned, but it does affect us because the moon is the emotional planet and it affects each and every one of us, disregarding what your star sign is, We all get affected by the moon. And particularly when the moon's back where it feels comfortable in Cancer, we all seem to have our emotions are a lot more heightened at this time of the cycle than they are when the moon's in another cycle. So just be aware of that. Some people might be saying, I'm having trouble sleeping, or I'm having trouble focusing, or I don't know why I'm so emotional, like I burst into tears for no apparent reason. It's because the moon's back in Cancer. And the moon's saying to us, you can just chill out. You can take your robes off. You can be yourself. You don't have to pretend or try and put on a brave face. You can just let it all go and let the emotions sort of flow and fall where they will. So with Jupiter here, the planet of expansion, opportunity, and luck, Jupiter is sort of saying to us that our emotions are going to be magnified. It's like they're on steroids. So this will predominantly affect the Cancers, Scorpios, and Pisces, the opposite sign of Capricorn, but it also is washing over the other remaining 8 signs. So be aware, if your emotions seem to be out of control, then we can blame it on Jupiter. It's not going to be for very long, because there's Jupiter conjunct Moon transit will only last another 48 hours at the most. So, we've really just sort of got to work through this. Now, interestingly enough, we're talking about emotions, and we're talking about things that people need to work on. That seems to be the theme of the astrology today on the show. I want to talk about Chiron. Now, Chiron is not actually a planet. Chiron is what's known as the wounded healer in an astrology chart. It's where we look for things that need to be healed, where we look for sort of not so much weaknesses in the chart, but things that we might have brought in from a past life, or things that we need to heal, things we need to work on. It's not necessarily a sign of weakness. It's just, let's look at it as being magnified. Now, Chiron is sitting in Aries, has been for quite some time now. So this is really going to be affecting the Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and the opposite sign of Aries, which is Libra. It does wash over the remaining 8 signs, but it's predominantly the fire signs and Libra that this is affecting. Now, I have lots of Aries friends, and a lot of them have been going through some health issues recently, or had someone in the family that's going through a major health crisis, which in turn is falling back onto them. Now, what Chiron is asking you to do here is to dig deep, is to look really carefully at what it is that you can improve, change, what have you been ignoring, what have you been putting off. It's the time to delve into your health. And we're not just talking about physical health here. Again, we're talking about your mental or emotional well-being here as well. It's asking you to say, stop putting it off until tomorrow. If something is a problem, then let's go and get some help. Let's get some answers. For some people that I know, that some of the fire signs, they've been looking at other forms of healing, or complementary therapies, or ways to enhance what they do with the orthodox medicine to sort of bring about a balance into their lives. It's a time of exploration. It's a time to sort of really research things, look at what may be the best answers for you. And sometimes it's not just one size fits all. Sometimes it's a combination of things that bring our health back into balance. And with it being the wounded healer, quite often our physical health is tied to emotional issues that we've locked away, things that at the time we didn't have time to process or look at, so we just sort of put it in the closet and we'll deal with that later on. And well, later on's now arrived. It's now time to deal with these things. So it's been a really tricky situation for a lot of fire sign people that I work with, that they've really had to confront things and really look at, well, okay, why did I bring this on? Is it just a malfunction of a family trait that, in my family there may be heart disease, so the chances of you getting heart disease are stronger than somebody that's family that doesn't have it. Yes, that comes into being, but you've also got to go back and look at what it is that you haven't dealt with in your life. What are the things that you've been too busy to deal with at the time that you've locked away to deal with later on? Or is there some sort of physical thing that you could improve, like making sure that you're getting enough sleep? A lot of people run on empty a lot of the time. I know I was very guilty of that, thinking that, 3 or 4 hours sleep was a lot, that you didn't really need that. But I now realize that the body needs time to rest and recuperate. So there's lots of things there that you could be starting to look at, whether you're a fire sign or not, but it's predominantly more the fire signs that this is affecting. So let's change gears now to love, to things that people really sort of like to sort of talk about, and that is love and romance. And for those that are single, and it doesn't matter what your star sign is, I'm going to say to you, this affects each and every one of us. Venus, the planet of love and affection, is sitting in Leo at the moment. So Venus is asking us that if you're looking for love, then you need to go to public places. You need to go to places where people are sort of strutting their stuff a little bit, where they're able to sort of perform on their own personal stage. Not necessarily asking you to go to a show or a concert, but it's saying going to places, don't go to the library where people can't talk. Go to a place where people can make a noise, they can communicate, they can be themselves, they can show off a little bit, or they can sort of just be a little bit more extroverted. It's the time to get out there and sort of be a little bit theatrical. I always think of Leo and I think of things that make me smile, things that, make your heart sing, that, you go out, you might listen to a band, or you might go to a concert in the park, or you might go to a trade show, or you might go to the local agricultural show if that's your thing, and sort of, getting out amongst the people where people have got an opportunity to communicate and share their knowledge with you. And that's really important. So it's very, very important that we do go these ways and we look for these sort of things if we are looking for love, because love is one of those things that makes the world go round. So Saturn has slipped back into Pisces. So for those Pisceans, it's, you've got till about the end of October, early November to make sure that you've really done the lessons that Pisces has sort of set down before he moves direct again into Aries, and that'll be for the final time that he's visiting Pisces now. So let's make sure that we've got those last little loose ends sort of tidied up. And it's not necessarily saying does it have to be hard. It's just saying making sure that maybe the changes that you brought about in your life, that you're sort of really reinforcing that, yes, these are for you. So this is really sort of important. So it is affecting the water signs, which is Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio, and the opposite sign of Virgo. But it's nothing to be sort of feared. I mean, you've done all the hard yards with Saturn sitting in Pisces, and briefly went into Aries, so you had a little bit of a reprieve where it was sort of stirring up the Aries people a little bit. Well, it's just slipped back into Pisces. We'll be there till towards the end of the year, and then sort of really moves in great gusto into Aries. So hold your breath, Aries. Saturn's on his way. He's going to bring a lot of structure and discipline to your life later in the year. So, maybe you focus on your health for the moment and not deceiving yourself, and sort of looking at how you can become a little bit more creative and sort of finding some creative solutions to your life. So we're going to take our first caller now, and it's Julio, and in Miami, in Florida. And I apologize if I've pronounced your name wrong, sweetie. Can I help you?
Yes. Hi.
Hi. Can I get an answer for you, sweetie?
Yeah. I was wondering about my relationship with my girlfriend, and we are actually separated, taking some time away.
Mhm.
And I want to know how this is going to turn out. We've faced some difficulties in trying to get together, and plans that have fallen through. But we really love each
Mhm.
other, and we really want to spend time together. So that would be my question.
No.
How is this relationship evolving?
Okay. Do you mind just sharing with me her first initial, please? Just so I make sure I tune into the right person.
My name is Julio.
Yeah,
Her
no, but
name is
her
Joy.
first initial is what, sweetie? Her first initial. I
Joy?
don't need a first name. Just her first initial of her first
J.
name. J. Okay, great.
J.
All right. The first thing. Okay, sweetie. The first thing that they're sharing with me is the fact that yes, there's still some issues there, and you don't need me to tell you that, but it's almost like I want to try and bring the two of you back together so that we're on the same page. At the moment, it's sort of like you jump forward and then she catches up, and then everything sort of sits for a little while, and then she jumps forward and then you catch up. It's like I want to try and get a level playing field again. Why do I sort of feel that there's other people that have interfered in this situation? Is that part of the problem?
Well, yeah, family gets involved, and they have an
Mhm.
opinion. So.
Yes, too much of an opinion from what I'm picking up. Look, look, I'm not going to say that this is going to be an easy road back to each other and get this, onto an even keel again, because it's not going to be. But I feel for both of you, you've both got to sort of, I think, sort of just calm down a little bit and take stock and look at what's important to each one of you. Let's sidestep all these other people that have an opinion, whether they're family or friends or people that think they know what the situation should or shouldn't be. It really comes back to you two together at what you two want. I am feeling that you will find your way back to each other, but this time I think it's going to be different. When we sort of start to sort of really lay some foundations down about what we expect and what we will tolerate and what we won't tolerate in the relationship, I think there's going to be a couple of things there that are going to sort of really take you a little bit by surprise. And I'm not saying in a negative way, I'm saying in a positive way, that sort of like, oh, wow, I wouldn't have looked at it that way, or gee, that surprises me. I thought you were very much on a particular path and you wouldn't budge. And here you are showing me that there's more flexibility in the way that we get things together. Is it your dream that the two of you end up, setting up home together and sort of, really establishing a serious relationship?
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm seeing, but I'm going to say to you, it's going to take time. It's not something I think we can achieve even before the end of this year. But what I am seeing is slow, tiny, small, deliberate, definite steps towards that. If we can work upon the timeline, and I know this sounds a long way off, but if we can work along the timeline of about March, April next year, that you two are together in a home, building a life together, and it's almost like you're shutting the rest of the world out. If they can't agree with what you two want, then it's like, I'm sorry, but the door's shut to you. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's sort of how you have to build it to begin with, so that the two of you can get strong and establish the relationship together in a loving, sort of happy environment, that this is our little world and this is good. And then we can slowly start to allow family and friends back in, and even the ones that haven't been so supportive, but we set rules. Like if you make a derogative comment, well, that's it, you shut out, that's it, goodbye. You know what I mean? You're both going to become very, very determined at nobody's going to interfere with the relationship that the two of you have had to fight for and work really hard to bring back together again. Look, I truly do believe there is a very strong love connection here, but it's going to take a little bit of time, Julio. And that's the hard part, is that, the waiting, in your soul, in your heart that this is right. It's just a matter of you've got to be patient, sweetheart. So I hope that's helped you.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. That's where we're going to leave, Julio. We're going to talk with Rachel now in Canberra in the ACT in Australia. How are you, Rachel? I believe it's very cool there this morning. Hello, Rachel. Oh, I'm sure Rachel's there somewhere. Maybe she's putting a jumper on, because it is cold in Canberra today, as I saw on the news before I started this broadcast. So are you there, Rachel? So anyway, for those of you that don't live in Australia, which I do, Canberra is actually our national capital. And I was watching the TV before the show this morning, and they mentioned about the weather in Canberra today was going to be nice and chilly and about 14 degrees, which isn't certainly hot, as we're starting to move into springtime. So here on the Gold Coast, it's going to warm up a little bit. I like summer. And, Canberra's a beautiful spot. I used to visit there quite regularly. It was a purpose-designed city here in Australia to become our national capital. So it's high up in the hills. It's a very pretty city, very well organised, and they have lots of amazing things to see and do there. But the weather's a little bit cold. And how are you, Rachel?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Very well. I was saying while we were waiting for you to come on the line that it's a little bit chilly in Canberra today.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's just past winter now, so we're in spring.
Yes, but it didn't look like it was really springtime, in my opinion, here on the Gold Coast anyway. So how can I help you today, Rachel? Do you have a question I can answer, sweetie, for you?
I'm just wondering, I lost like a friend recently. I was just wondering if you can tell me anything about that, him.
You mean that person passed over, sweetie? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yep,
Okay. Male or female, darling?
male.
Male. Okay. Just want to make sure that anything that's coming through from the other side is the right sort of connection. It's always very difficult to sort of try and say that we can sort of call in a particular person that you want to know about from the
Yeah,
other side unless they're ready to come through. We're at their sort
yeah.
of mercy, and so to speak. I'm assuming the male energy that I've got coming through is who you're looking to connect with, because I keep seeing tears. To me, they keep saying to me, it wasn't my time, I wasn't ready. So does that make sense to you?
I'd say yeah.
They seem very emotional to me. Like I can only take it from this. To me, I feel this wasn't an illness. This was something else. It was something that was unexpected.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because that's just by their emotion and the way that they're sort of sharing it with me. If it was sort of a terminal illness, they sort of present it in a different sort of way. This person is incredibly emotional. Look, I don't believe that nobody ever goes through to the other side. I believe that there's a holding pattern that we all have to process through when we pass over. And for this person that you've just lost recently, they're almost in denial that they've gone, and that's not uncommon, sweetie, because if they feel that their
Yeah,
life was cut short for whatever reason and they weren't ready to go. Well, I don't know that any of us are ever ready to go, but you know what I mean, that sort of it
yeah,
wasn't an
yeah.
expected situation. Then they've got more grief to deal with than we've just lost one person. They've lost everybody, and they've lost their life and their lifestyle and their dreams and their aspirations.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
takes a little bit of time to come to terms with that before they go through to the next level on the other side. So what I'm going to share with you is that they're still struggling. They're still struggling with coming to terms with the fact that their life is over as we know it here on earth. But at the same time, they're starting to process that and they're starting to come to terms with it, and they will move through to the other side. This person seems very emotionally connected to you, though, more so than other
Yeah,
members of the family or other people around them. Was there a special bond there?
yeah,
Was there?
yeah. 25 years of friendship.
Right. Okay. Because they just don't seem to want to not so much let go of that. I don't feel that they'll ever let go of that, but they sort of feel as if they should have been able to say goodbye to you, when they feel robbed or cheated of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So,
He hasn't
sweetie,
even had his
also
funeral yet.
you haven't had the funeral yet.
No, we have it on the 25th.
Okay. All right. This is really interesting because normally they don't come through quite this quickly, when we haven't even done the ceremony
Yeah.
here on earth yet. So this is a
It
very special
could be
connection.
somebody else. Like I knew somebody else, and it sounds like him as well. So like that was 16 years ago. I had a friend who died, and was male as
Yeah,
well,
no,
and it was
I don't
unexpected.
think it's that. I wouldn't be expecting someone from 15 years ago to still be in
Oh,
this holding pattern. So that's why I'm going to say it's the
oh,
more recent one, because
yep.
he keeps saying to me, I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. It's sort of like for everything
Mhm.
else that he sort of shared with me, that he was disappointed that his life was cut short and everything else. But this is the number one thing, that he didn't get the chance to say goodbye to you. And it's sort of like, that's why I said there must be an incredibly special bond there, because this is what's troubling him
There
the
was.
most, that I think he wants to get that through to you, that, this isn't goodbye. I still care for you. We're still going to be friends, even though the dimension's different. He just wants you to know that. So if you get some dreams or whatever, just know that they're definitely truly coming from him. That anything that comes into your
Okay.
mind that might seem silly isn't silly, because it is him trying to make connection. He's very strong. Was he very strong in real life here on
Yes.
earth? Strong
Mm.
character, yeah, but that's
Yes.
definitely him, because he's
Yep.
very determined to get this message across. And he keeps saying to me, look, I'm no good on what sort of flowers, but he doesn't want you to take roses. He wants you to take something else. I don't know, like a tulip or something. I don't know, something different.
Wow.
You'll know. You'll be walking
Oh,
past the
wow.
florist or whatever, and it'll almost like it'll jump out at you. That's the one he wants. He wants yours to be different. He wants yours to stand out. Like people come with flowers and whatever to funerals and whatever. He just wants yours to be one of,
Yep.
and it'll be something different.
Oh, okay.
a gerbera or a tulip or something, not a rose. He wants it to be
Yep.
different.
Yep. Yep.
He really has a sense of humour, doesn't he? He says it doesn't matter even if you pick it in the garden on the way over. I
Yeah.
mean, I know the
Yeah.
gardens are beautiful in Canberra at this time of the year, but I think he's just trying to show you his sense of humour, that he's still here, he's still with you, and please don't be bothered by that he is still there. He still loves you, he still cares for
Okay.
you as his friend, and he'll always be with you. So, he mightn't be here on this dimension, but always around you. So I hope that's helped,
Okay.
Rachel, at this very
It has.
difficult
Yes.
time.
It has.
Yeah, but don't forget to go for a walk in some of those beautiful gardens. You might just sort of feel that that's where you'll feel the strongest presence from him, because I don't know that
Yep.
he was a real flower person, but he keeps showing me those beautiful rose gardens. It's like you're going to find some peace there. But no, he's okay.
Yep. Okay.
He's a bit annoyed
Awesome.
about
Thank
he's
you so
gone. But
much.
he's okay. You're very welcome,
Yeah.
sweetie. Have a lovely day.
You too. Thank
That's
you.
Rachel.
Bye-bye.
Let's Bye-bye. It's always difficult when we lose people that we're very, very connected to, and it was a very special connection for Rachel. Normally, they don't come through this quickly when we haven't gone through funerals and things here on Earth, and quite often they don't even want to come through. They find it too difficult to come through, but he was certainly wanting to get a message across and wanting her to know that he's okay. And, it's really difficult at times like this when we lose people that are so close to us, even if they are just a friend, and it's somebody that we've had a strong friendship with for a very long time. It's the same as losing a loved one. So, because they are a loved one in a different sort of level, they're not somebody we were in love with, but somebody we loved. And sort of, it can be very difficult. So, there's lots of people around the world that I know that are, struggling with loss and things like that at the moment. It's never an easy time. It never gets any easier, no matter what you think or how long you live or how hard you think you become, or sort of how much you think that you can cope with things in the world. There's still always going to be times of loss there that are going to sort of rock you at your foundation, and that's part of our journey here on Earth too, as I think, to sort of overcome those losses and those tragedies that happen in life. They're part of our character building, and none of us want to lose people, but unfortunately we all grow old and we all expire at some stage or another. But we've got to have a good time while we're here, and I think make the most of every single day while we're here. This week I want to leave you with a beautiful love song, and it's one of those songs that sort of gets in your head and you can't sort of let go of it, and that's what's happened with me in this last week. And it's Lionel Richie's, and it's Stuck on You. And I have been really stuck on Lionel Richie this last week. He's been in and out of my mind and keeps popping up on my devices, even though I haven't searched for him. And this song has been literally sort of coming along. So I think this may be for Rachel actually in Canberra, and her special friend saying to her, I'm stuck on you and I'm never going to forget you. So until next week, have a fabulous week wherever you are in this world of ours, and we'll do it again in 7 days. Bye for now.